All right, let's dive right into this London adventure. I don't know about you, but the thought of moving to this city has always felt exciting and terrifying at the same time. And today, we're going beyond those glossy tourist brochures to uncover the nitty-gritty of what it really takes to make London your home in 2024.
It's about separating those Instagram-worthy moments from the everyday realities.
Exactly. And our trusty sidekick for this deep dive is a guide from Homelike, the short-term rental gurus. They're in the trenches, helping people settle into London every single day. Think of them as our London Sherpas, guiding us through the unknown.
With their finger on the pulse of the rental market, they must have some fascinating insights.
Oh, they definitely do. They don't sugarcoat the fact that London's pulse comes with a hefty price tag. But before we get lost in the labyrinth of London living costs, let's unpack why this city is on top of so many people's bucket lists. What makes London London?
The guide hits the nail on the head when it talks about London's sheer scale. This city is gigantic, twice the size of New York City, with a mosaic of cultures and experiences. We're talking about over 300 languages spoken, which means you can find a taste of home no matter where you come from.
It's like the world decided to have a party, and everyone showed up in London.
Precisely. But it's not just about the size and diversity, it's also about opportunity. London's a global hub for finance, technology, the arts, you name it, it's happening here.
But let's be real, all this comes at a cost. And I'm not just talking about the price of a pint, which, by the way, can set you back about £6.50 these days. We're talking about the overall cost of living. The guide does a fascinating comparison. They imagined you wanted to buy the same basket of groceries in London, Berlin, Madrid, and Budapest.
What did they find?
Well, hold on to your teacups, because that same basket of groceries in London would cost you a whopping 34% more than in Berlin. Even Madrid and Budapest, known for their affordability, came in at 18% and 52% cheaper, respectively. It makes you think twice about those daily Pret-a-Manger runs.
Ouch. That's a significant difference. It seems those charming cobblestone streets and world-class museums come with a premium. But even before you start budgeting for groceries, there's the small matter of actually being allowed to live and work in London.
Ah, yes. The elephant in the room, UK visas. The guide uses some strong words to describe the process. Particularly tough. Apparently, the UK tightened its immigration policies at the end of 2023, making it even trickier to get those golden tickets to ride the London Eye.
It's like trying to hail a black cab during rush hour. Persistence is key, but even then, there's no guarantee. The guide really stresses the importance of checking the official UK visa portal early on because those processing times can be brutal.
And here's a kicker. Long stays, and by that we're talking more than 6 months, almost always require a visa, and even those come with caveats.
Especially work visas. Landing a job offer is just the first hurdle. Then comes the labyrinth of sponsorship requirements, minimum salary thresholds. It's enough to make even the most organized person break into a cold sweat.
It's like navigating the 2 map during a rush hour meltdown. But let's say for a moment that you've successfully jumped through all the visa hoops and you're ready to find your corner of this sprawling city. Where do you even begin? London's got a personality for every postcode.
That's where this guide gets really fun. They paint these vivid pictures of different London boroughs, each with its own unique vibe. It's like they're matchmakers, pairing you with the neighborhood of your dreams.
It's like choosing your Hogwarts house. Are you a Gryffindor, drawn to the energy of Shoreditch? Or maybe a Hufflepuff, seeking the village charm of Notting Hill.
Exactly. Imagine starting your day with a flat white in a Shoreditch cafe, surrounded by graphic designers and entrepreneurs, the air buzzing with creativity. That's the Shoreditch vibe, young, hip, and bursting with entrepreneurial energy.
And if vintage finds and Notting Hill's Portobello Road Market get your pulse racing, then that colorful, charming neighborhood might be calling your name.
But if tranquility and a touch of royalty are more your speed, then picture yourself strolling through Richmond Park, deer grazing peacefully as if you've stepped back in time. That's Richmond for you, an oasis of calm with a royal seal of approval.
Don't forget about families. The guide highlights areas like Leafy Dulwich, known for its outstanding schools and village atmosphere. It's like the Mary Poppins of London neighborhoods, except maybe with less chimney sweeping and more gastropubs.
And for those who want to be in the heart of it all, Covent Garden, with its street performers, theaters, and that unmistakable buzz, might be the perfect fit.
But here's a golden nugget from the guide. Don't rush into a long-term lease in a neighborhood you barely know.
They recommend a short-term rental in a central location, a test drive, before you commit. It's a chance to experience the pulse of different boroughs, discover hidden alleyways, and maybe even stumble upon your new favorite pub.
I love that idea, a little London sampler platter before you settle down. But let's face it, finding a decent flat in London's rental market can feel like a gladiatorial contest, right?
It can be brutal.
It's like everyone's vying for a piece of the London pie, but those slices are getting smaller and pricier by the minute.
The guide doesn't sugarcoat it, that's for sure. They paint a very realistic picture of the competitive rental landscape, with landlords often receiving dozens, even hundreds of applications for a single property.
So how do you stand out from the crowd? What does it take to win over those elusive London landlords?
Well, the guide emphasizes the importance of having all your ducks in a row. References, credit history, proof of income, it's all under scrutiny. They also mention that having a UK-based guarantor can significantly increase your chances. It's like having a cosigner with a British accent vouching for you.
It's all starting to sound a bit intense. I'm feeling the need to brush up on my British slang just to blend in.
A little cheeky Nando's never hurt anyone.
Yeah.
But speaking of navigating a new city, let's talk about something that often takes newcomers by surprise, the sheer awesomeness of London's public transportation.
Yes, the tube. It's practically a London rite of passage to master that labyrinthine underground world.
And the guide certainly doesn't skimp on the stats. Get this, the London Underground has 272 stations covering a staggering 402 kilometers of track. It's like the city has veins pumping people and possibilities in every direction.
And if you ever emerge from the depths of the underground, blinking into the daylight, there are always those iconic red double-decker buses ready to whisk you away.
Over 675 bus routes, it's enough to make your head spin. And that's not even counting the Overground, the Docklands Light Railway, the trams, the river buses, the black cabs, the Boris bikes.
Hold on, Boris bikes. Do I need to brush up on my cycling etiquette with the Prime Minister?
Not quite. Boris Bikes is just a nickname for London's bicycle sharing system, officially called Santander Cycles. But the point is, you don't need to channel your inner Bradley Wiggins to get around London.
And the guide actually advises against owning a car in London.
With good reason. They call London the slowest city in the world for drivers with an average speed of just 7 miles per hour during peak times.
I'd rather walk.
You might be faster. And then there's the ultra-low emission zone, or ULEZ as Londoners call it. It's designed to reduce air pollution, but it means drivers of older, more polluting vehicles have to pay a daily charge to drive in certain areas.
It's like a congestion chart on steroids. Suddenly that Oyster card for the tube seems like a bargain.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the cost of fuel. The guide mentions petrol costing about 1.50 pounds per liter. That's roughly 6.40 USD per gallon for our American listeners.
Ouch. I'm starting to think even those black cabs might be a luxury.
They certainly can be. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something that's probably top of mind for anyone considering a move to London, especially with family in tow, education, and healthcare.
Now we're talking. I've always heard that UK education has a certain reputation.
And it's a well-deserved one. The guide boasts about the UK ranking second in the world for education quality. London alone has over 3,000 schools, from state-funded schools, which are completely free, to independent private schools with centuries-old traditions.
Options galore. And for those with university aspirations, London is a global magnet for higher education, with around 40 universities, including some of the most prestigious institutions in the world.
Think Oxford and Cambridge levels of academic excellence.
But all this talk of education is making me feel a little underqualified. I might need to enroll in a crash course on how to be a proper Londoner.
I hear they offer those at Borough Market right between the cheese tasting and the oyster shopping. But in all seriousness, let's talk about healthcare for a moment, because that's a major factor for anyone relocating.
Absolutely. We've all heard whispers about this mythical creature called the NHS.
Ah, yes, the National Health Service. It's a source of both national pride and heated debate.
So how does it actually work? Does it really live up to the hype?
The guide explains that the NHS is a publicly funded healthcare system, meaning most essential services are free at the point of use.
Free? As in, no copays, no deductibles, no medical bills piling up on the kitchen counter.
That's the idea. Of course, there are some exceptions, like prescription charges, dental care, and optical services, which usually require some out-of-pocket expenses. And then there's the debate about wait times.
The infamous NHS wait times.
It's true that some non-urgent procedures might involve a longer wait compared to private healthcare, which is also an option in the UK.
So you've got choices. You can either embrace the queue and the camaraderie of a shared national healthcare system, Or you can opt for the efficiency but often higher cost of private care.
Precisely. The guide mentions some of the major private healthcare providers like Bupa AXA and Aviva, with average yearly plans costing just under £1,000.
It's good to have options, that's for sure. But before we get too comfortable in our new London lives, let's talk about those essential services that can feel like a real headache when you're settling into a new place. You know, the things nobody warns you about in those glossy travel magazines.
Ah, you mean the joys of setting up utilities, deciphering council tax bills, and finding a decent internet provider.
Exactly. It's all fun and games until you're stuck without Wi-Fi, right?
The guide actually recommends opting for a short-term rental initially, especially one where utilities are included, just to avoid that initial scramble of setting everything up before you've even unpacked your suitcase.
That's brilliant advice. It's like a buffer zone before you fully immerse yourself in the world of British bureaucracy.
Precisely. But even if you do go down the short-term rental route, there's one little thing you can't avoid: council tax.
Council tax. Is that like a tax for joining the local book club?
Not quite. It's a local tax that funds essential services like rubbish collections, street cleaning, and even libraries.
So that's how they keep those streets so tidy and those red phone boxes gleaming.
Exactly. It's calculated based on the value of your property, and it can vary significantly depending on the borough you're in.
So choosing the right neighborhood isn't just about the vibe, it's also about your budget for essential services.
Yeah.
It's all starting to make sense.
It's all connected. But back to those essential services we were talking about.
Right, because a person can't survive on charming accents and afternoon tea alone. We need electricity, internet, and maybe even a phone line that doesn't require smoke signals.
Absolutely. The guide mentions that most Londoners get their gas and electricity from providers like British Gas, EDF Energy, and Scottish Power. They recommend using a comparison website to find the best deals, as tariffs can vary widely.
Smart move. It's like shopping for the best flight deals. But instead of jetting off to Ibiza, you're powering your electric kettle.
Exactly. And speaking of staying connected, let's talk about mobile phones. When you first arrive in London, it's super easy to grab a pay-as-you-go SIM card at the airport.
Perfect for those Instagram-worthy shots of your first pint in the London pub.
Exactly. But for a more long-term solution, the guide suggests comparing SIM-only deals or contracts from major providers like Vodafone E and 3.
It's all about finding the right balance of data minutes and those all-important text messages right.
Absolutely. And if you're feeling really tech-savvy and want to skip the hassle of a physical SIM card altogether, they mention exploring eSIM options from providers like Airlo. It's basically a digital SIM card that you can download directly to your phone.
Mind blown. It's like living in the future. But all this talk of technology and connectivity is making me crave some good old-fashioned human interaction.
Well, you're in luck. London is a city that thrives on human connection.
That's what I love to hear. But before we get swept away by the allure of cozy pubs and lively markets, there's one more essential aspect of London life we need to address: safety.
Ah, yes, safety in the big city. It's a topic that often comes up, and rightfully so.
Because nobody wants to feel like they're navigating a Guy Ritchie film. So what's the real deal with safety in London?
The guide is quick to point out that London is generally a very safe city, but like any major metropolis, it has its share of risks.
It's all about being aware and using common sense, right?
Right. And if you're heading out for a night on the town, the guide has some handy tips for staying safe amidst the excitement.
Like, don't leave your drink unattended. That's practically a universal rule.
Exactly. And they also caution against taking drinks from strangers. You know, just a good reminder to be cautious, especially when you're new to the scene.
Oh, and let's not forget about those infamous London pickpockets.
They're like ninjas of the tourist spots. They blend right into those crowds, especially around the big attractions and on public transport.
Talk about a souvenir you don't want to take home. So stay alert, keep your valuables close, basically. Channel your inner Londoner.
Exactly. The guide suggests checking out the London Metropolitan Police website for even more in-depth safety tips. Might be worth a look before you hop on that plane.
Great advice. Now, shifting gears a bit, because London isn't just for us humans, right? We've got to talk about our furry friends and how to make their transition to London life as smooth as possible.
Absolutely. And the guide actually highlights that London is a very pet-friendly city. Think parks galore, pubs that welcome your pooch, and just a general love for all things furry.
I can just imagine those perfectly groomed pups strutting their stuff through Hyde Park. So cute. But on a practical note, bringing your furry friend from another country, I imagine there's some red tape involved.
Oh, there's always red tape. The UK uses something called the PSEC scheme, which lays out all the rules for bringing pets from abroad.
So it's not as simple as a quick visit to the vet for a passport.
It's a bit more involved. Microchipping, rabies vaccinations, tapeworm treatments, it's all part of the checklist. And a heads up, the guide mentions there might be extra hoops to jump through depending on where you're coming from. So yeah, definitely do your research early on.
Well, that's good to know. Sounds like moving with your pet is like planning a whole separate trip.
Pretty much. And another thing, finding a place that welcomes pets can be tricky.
I can already feel the stress of apartment hunting with a pet.
The guide recommends reaching out to landlords in advance, being upfront about your furry friend, and maybe even considering a pet relocation agency. Think of them as your pet's personal assistant for the big move.
Now that's service. But of course, all this extra help probably comes with a price tag, right?
You know it. Be prepared for those pet cleaning fees, usually around 100 to 200 pounds, just something to factor into the budget.
It's all starting to add up. I guess the takeaway here is a London adventure with your furry companion requires some extra planning and maybe a little extra padding in that bank account.
Definitely. But don't worry, with a bit of preparation, both you and your four-legged friend will be living the London dream in no time.
And that's what makes London so special. It's a city that embraces everyone and their furry companions with open arms. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, haven't we? From visa hurdles to navigating the tube and even finding that perfect pint.
We've tackled it all, and hopefully our listeners are feeling a little more confident and way less overwhelmed by the thought of moving to London.
Absolutely. Remember, it's all about research, preparation, and a good dose of that adventurous spirit. Moving to London isn't just a change of address, it's a journey.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for help along the way. London's bursting with resources, from online forums to expat groups and even those friendly faces at the local pub.
Speaking of friendly faces, Londoners are known for their welcoming nature, right?
They really are. You'll find people are generally happy to point you in the right direction, whether you're lost in the tube or just looking for the best cuppa in town.
It's all about embracing the unknown and making those everyday moments feel extraordinary.
And as we wrap things up, I have one final thought. What excites you most about the prospect of living in London? What sets your heart racing? Is it the vibrant art scene, the chance to immerse yourself in centuries of history, the thrill of building a career in a global hub? Or maybe it's something simpler like finding your new favorite cozy corner in a charming London pub.
Whatever it is, let that excitement fuel your journey. Let it be the wind beneath your wings as you navigate the ups and downs of London life.
Because remember, every great adventure begins with a single step.
So what are you waiting for? London awaits.